Welcome back, Rare Talks. Really know what it is. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't, make sure you go over to the YouTube. We're not on Spotify at the moment. We're on YouTube. So if you want exclusive episodes and clips and everything else, then please go over to the YouTube and subscribe. I'm joined this week by the wildest, craziest co-host in the world.
Come on, you already know, Young C on the building, man. Come on, man. We're always here every Friday.
And this week we got a special guest. You know, we're about empowering men. We always tell you, lot, we're about empowering men.
That's the whole move.
And making men feel empowered.
Yes.
So we always bring men on the show that are empowering other men.
Yes.
Because it's very important that we see this in ourselves. Mm-hmm. So introduce yourself, my brother.
Prepare to be empowered. So I'm Ashwin of Remind Me to Think is one of my companies. I'm a life coach, motivational speaker.
Right.
And start from the name Remind Me to Think is really just, as the name suggests, reminding people that you have the ability to think whatever you want to think,
right,
regardless of your situation, circumstances, or the events around you. Right. Unfortunately, for most people, they allow their surrounding circumstances to do the majority of their thinking for them. You know, whether that be from things they don't like, or mainstream media, or social media, family and friends.
Right.
But I think it's to the degree, really, we understand that we have the ability to use our own mind,
of course,
as opposed to everything and everyone else using our mind, is to the degree that we will experience true mental health and freedom.
Yeah, nice and point, man. So it's like so you say life coach and motivational speaker. Was that something like you started from like a young age or recently? Like, how did you come about that?
Yeah, so from the sort of beginning, so to take you to maybe the age of 16 or what have you, when you're, I'm not necessarily saying I became successful but when you're sort of told the next steps after leaving school, secondary school, was to, right, just get a job now, 9 to 5 for the next.
That was it.
For the next 60 years.
Yeah, just get a job.
You still going?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so from the age of 16, leaving school, you sort of have the idea, okay, so what next? I'm leaving school. And it was that narrative of, okay, well, now you just get a job, 9 to 5 for the next 60 years. That was just never appealing to me.
It shouldn't be, innit?
Well, it shouldn't be. It never appealed to me. I was never one to settle for that. So from that age, I always sort of obsessed with the idea that there must be another way, or there must be a better way. And from that point, I was just always curious to, and like they say, seek and you shall find, right? But I was just always open-minded to look at different ways. Some worked, some things worked, some things didn't from that age. You know, you could say I got burnt now and again with different schemes or different things that people said. So there was a lot of trial and error from that point.
Has to be.
But I think just having that initial idea and mindset of continuing to look for what you want to find, you tend to find that things start opening up and revealing themselves to you.
Not for real. And then so from 16, so like you go through the age, but when did it start to become more serious, where you're like, right, this is what I want to do, this is who I am, do you know what I mean? Like, this is where it's becoming more serious now, like the whole life coach thing.
Yeah, so I mean, throughout the few years, 18, 19, I dabbled in bits here and there.
Yeah.
Different jobs and what have you. And I just started to come across books. And funny enough, I didn't like reading when I was younger. Say younger than 19, I didn't really even like reading. I used to think, why would anyone read? May as well watch TV or what have you. Now I'm the complete opposite, right? But I started to come across books, and the great thing is now with online, everything's at our fingertips, right? Literally. It all comes back to what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, I was asking someone the other day, funny enough, who let's say has had access to the internet for the past 20 odd years, right? And I was simply asking them, well, how many times think of this, the 20 years you've had the internet, right? This source at your fingertips of all knowledge, so to speak. How many times have you searched for terms like what it takes to become successful, or how to become whatever you want to become or how to become financially independent. And they were saying, well, no, they've never searched for that.
Right.
And I'm not necessarily saying by searching for these things the answer's just going to jump up and pop out at you, but it's having that mentality to seek for what you want to find, to continuously look for it, to be open-minded. And I think is from that, I mean, what made me not want to conform as well is just observing people around me, the people telling me to work and so on and so forth. We're not achieving the type of results that I would have aspired to.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So I always question that as well. I think a lot of people don't question that. So what I call the 3 pillars of beliefs we're all taught growing up in terms of what makes an individual successful, right? One of which is hard work, which we discussed. Now, I'm not knocking hard work, and we'll get into the correct term or use of hard work. But I observed many people, and my parents were a great example of this, working very hard, continuously, but still not having much to show for it, still struggling to get by. I've also experienced many people in life that don't seem to be working very hard, but yes, they seem to win. Right? So that, to me, hard work alone wasn't the key, or wasn't the formula, so to speak, in terms of what it took to be successful. Another thing we're taught is those with the best educations tend to succeed over those who don't.
That's the biggest myth.
That's it. And we continue, you see people even getting to their 40s, 50s still falling back on these old ideas of, oh, maybe I need to go back to school or college or what have you to get education. But I know many people with great education, several degrees even, and these people again could be struggling to get by or struggling to find work to begin with. And then there could be many people with very little or no education.
I was managing like 4 or 5 people that were uni students that studied, and I was managing them, and I didn't go university.
Well, that's it. They
I was
say
telling
that
them, go do this, go do that.
they say all over the country there's A-star students working for C and D average or E.
Mad, isn't it?
I had a whole team.
It's crazy.
That's the reality, though, isn't it? Like, education isn't like, well, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't be educated, and of course it doesn't make sense, but it's not. I think the way the system's set up is, if you get a degree, you'll be successful. It's like completely false.
I tell you where the problem lies. The problem lies is when we're telling all the children that they need education. Like for me getting college was a waste of time because I just wanted money.
Right. Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So wasn't it better for me to just get a job? Because that would have kept me away from everything, because I had a job to get money. That would have been the best thing for me. But family pressures, a lot of the time, that's what it means.
It's that's
family
exactly
pressures. They're like, oh, you need a degree, you need this, you need that. And it's like your family's pressuring you to do something, but your heart's not in it. You just want to make money because you just want to look nice, you want to smell good. And you can get good jobs when you're young, you know, to pay you good money. And you just work it and work your way up. And then in 10 years' time, I could be the manager of it.
Easy.
Or start my own one that's similar to that because I've got all the skills. But they're not teaching us that. They're just teaching us to be robots. Like the classroom setting, you have to be like this, PhD, a degree. But then sometimes, well, I've seen anyway, majority of people that have all them PhDs, they're struggling to pay back costs.
Yeah, of course.
And you see them struggling and they're like eating like £1 noodles and stuff. And you're like, well, are you all right?
So what's more beneficial is to teach a child to have a clear vision or idea in mind in terms of what they want to achieve out of life. You know, how they want to live, you know, what life experience do they want, and then showing them the tools, or you know, to be able to move in the direction of that.
You see that mindset, that's the mindset that I've always had through life. So I've never said something's too expensive. I always said, how do I get the money to get it?
Exactly.
Different mindset.
So it's being solution orientated. Always.
The language of it, innit?
Yeah.
What's the third one?
So the third one is we just come up with excuses as to why someone else could do it and why we can't. So we say maybe they've got extra talent and abilities, or they're in favourable conditions, right? But then you can even break that down and see, look at the world of social media. There are many talentless people that seem to make it and do good, and I'm sure you and I know many talented people that again struggle to get by. So I kind of saw that none of these ideas and none of these beliefs that in effect we're programmed with, and that's a very important thing as well, to reprogram your subconscious mind and your beliefs. But I could see that they weren't working. these ideas were conditioned with aren't working. And like I said, unfortunately, people go throughout adulthood still falling back on these three things. You know, if I just maybe work a bit harder with no clear direction in terms of where I'm heading, or if I go back to school or college, maybe it will work this time, you see. So I think for me, it was just continuously studying. I started studying people that were successful.
Okay.
And read books. I sort of spent my time, like I said, it became an obsession for me, to the point now I don't spend any time watching TV, or I don't spend time barring what I'm doing on social media. I don't spend time browsing social media or anything like that, because I'm very particular what I give my attention to.
Of course.
Because from experience, I can clearly see that many of the results that we experience in life are really, in effect, a mirror reflection of what we give our attention to most, and the ideas and images we hold in our mind.
That's true.
Right. So yeah, it was just a constant road of studying for me, and naturally sharing with others.
Okay.
People around me were seeing the vast improvements in results. So life coaching came naturally to me in the sense that people were looking at some of the results and my improvements and saying, well, how are you doing that? You know, and how are you doing that? And it come naturally to me to share ideas and different things I was doing with other people. And that's how I sort of got into the life coaching aspect of it. So it was completely natural in that aspect.
It wasn't for, so like it's more just like, so like you like became into that person rather than just like try to like, right, I want to be a life coach. It's like it was already happening for you.
I became it, yeah. And I find as well the best way to be of influence to anyone is to live it in your own personal practice, right? Because there were times before that where I was trying to shove information on people who weren't interested, or it was just over their head, right? I was trying to give them books and say, read this or do this. Yeah, but then you seem like the crazy person, like
read these books, like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do this. Yeah.
Might as well a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like falling on those lines. I did go through a conspiracy theorist.
You have to.
Everyone goes through a little route, like conspiracy theorists, where everything's a conspiracy.
But
because they seem too switched on, innit?
Yeah.
It's all part of their journey, innit? It's all part of their journey, really.
Yeah.
It's all part of their journey. It's actually through first the conspiracy theory route, where I had other friends that were conspiracy theorists that actually introduced me some of the personal development books. So from that point, it was just like conspiracy theories to the side, only because I noticed a difference between being completely empowered with the personal development side, and I felt sometimes the conspiracy theorist side of things, even though it helped me along that journey, and that's why there's a place for everything, right?
True,
it sort of helped me wake me up at that time when I needed to be woken up. But then it got to a point where I felt powerless, in effect, to stop some of the things on that side of things, and I just got to the point where I realized, like, we really do create our own reality. We really have the ability to think whatever we want.
You do.
100%. You've got power over your paradigm, but a lot of people don't actually realize that your paradigm can only be changed by you and by the influences and things around you. Because people don't realize this, depending on who's around you and what they're saying to you constantly on a daily basis, can actually affect the way that you think and the way that you move.
Of course.
Because if everyone's saying you're not going to do something and this is not going to work for you, you're 9 out of 10 times more likely to not do it, unless you're a person who's strong-willed and your determination overcomes the words. But eventually, it's called infectious. That's why if someone has a cold, you try to stay away from them. Why? Because you'll catch the cold. That's not just with colds, bro. You can catch people's bad behaviors. You can catch people's bad vibes. You can catch people's infectious behaviors. It depends how you let that come into you. And that's why I said rumors or like bad words against you can only affect you if you let it. Does that make sense? If people are talking rubbish about you online and you turn your phone off for the day, how do their words hurt you?
Well, that's it. There's good or bad everywhere. So, as I was saying earlier, one of our greatest assets is our attention, right? Because where attention goes, energy flows. So, rather than trying to emit everything we disagree with or we don't like from the world around us, right? Like you were saying, you understand that I have the ability to really hold the vision of whatever I want in my mind, regardless of the negative or what I don't like. And by holding on to that, I'm then shown, or I then am aware of more evidence and support of the things I think and believe. Really.
I genuinely believe that if you're on your purpose of whatever you want to do, you will be successful. But the only way you're going to be successful is if you channel your mind into a zone where everyone else doesn't matter. You have your goal, and you will lose a lot of people because in the game of life in general, not everyone's going to love you for who you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
But that's not what's important. See, I've mastered the game. That's not what's important.
I agree.
It's important about focusing on the people that are with you, because sometimes we spend, and I always say this, we spend so much time focused on the people that are not supporting you, you forget the people that are supporting you.
It's true.
And they're more valuable than
It's
the people
true.
that are not supporting you.
Yeah.
Who cares that them 20 people in your family don't repost your video? Who cares?
Doesn't mean anything.
Why are you wasting 20 minutes talking about your cousin and your uncle and your mum and your this and your brother?
worry about it.
Yeah.
What does that matter to you when there's 4 people that said, I love your content?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
exactly.
it be better for me to speak to those 4 people and for them to give me that encouragement and that positivity and that drive to keep going? Wouldn't it be more better?
So that just highlights the power of focus, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
just
Whereas
focus,
I can focus on the negative, what's wrong, these people who aren't falling into line or doing things as I feel they should do, right? Or I could focus in the direction I'm heading and what's right.
Simple.
And other things that are supportive of the vision that I have in mind.
And once you have that, it's like, once your mind goes into that frame, everything that's what I said about your paradigm. It's very important that you choose your paradigm. Don't let your paradigm choose you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you choose your fate. You don't let your fate choose you. Obviously, to a certain extent, we can't change things, but I'm saying, I generally believe that people around you that are not beneficial for you and doing good for you, sometimes you have to remove them, and that's the honest truth. As bad as it might sound, and some people are like, nah, man, but the strong guy, he can stay there and bear with it. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. Being around people that don't believe in your vision for too long, they will start to put a downer on you, and I'm telling you from experience that it will affect you and make you start to doubt yourself. The only reason why people doubt themselves is because the people around them. I don't care what anyone says to me. Because I have people around me, like my co-host right now, he believes in me. So you see, every time I feel like, oh man, it's not, this guy just throws some motivation, I'm like, yeah, that's 2 more weeks. Now I just need another dose from him, another 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying? But imagine he was the opposite of that. Could you imagine how that would be affecting me? It'd be destroying me. I'd be like, bro, yeah, man. Yeah, he's right, man. I might as well just...
Yeah, of course.
This
Give up.
is just long now, man. It's just getting too much now, man.
That's why they say never share big ideas with small-minded people.
Never.
Right? Because they could tell you every which way why something won't work or why it can't be done or why you're going to fail or what have you. Right?
But then at the same time, I would say that you need a balance, because I can say that the positivity is helping me, but I can say the negativity will help me as well.
Yeah.
Because when I first started my podcast, some weird old guy was like, you think I'm never going to let you make a podcast? Watch. And them words still echo inside of my brain to this day. Every time I feel like every time I feel like giving up, I'm like, nah.
That guy.
I look at the guy's page and I remember he had like 12,000, 14,000 followers. And
Okay, so
and I'm looking and I'm like, boy, life really does change, innit? Look what he's doing, nothing. He's doing literally nothing, and I'm on a different level to him. But it's funny how the world works, because he probably at that time just saw me and thought, yeah, I'm gonna hate on you, whatever.
Yeah.
But his words were literally like fire to the woods.
Yeah.
Because it kept me going. Every time I felt like giving up, I just remember them words, and I was like, you will never win.
So that comes back to what you were saying earlier, where nothing can affect you but you. Nothing can, in effect, change your vibration unless you give it permission to, unless you allow it.
Thank you.
Right? So it all comes back down to personal choice. And like I said, you don't want to, as much as we believe we want to live in a world where we get rid of all the negativity and the things we disagree with and things we don't like, right? That will get rid of freedom of choice as well. But it's up to us from that point to decipher what we want to utilize, what we disagree with, what we don't, what we agree with, and use the negative, if you will, as fuel in that instance to help you move forward. Because there are same people using that same negativity as an excuse to feel bad and using that as their reason for not succeeding or getting to where they want to be.
I feel like that's the people that, even in the 48 Laws of Power, it says, beware of the unlucky and stuff like that. And you know, I used to read that and I used to think, that's so evil. Like, some people need help and stuff. But then I started to, as life started to flow, as life started to go on for me, I started understanding it, you know. Have you ever been around someone and everything's just bad in their life?
Yeah. You get people like
For
that.
some reason, stuff starts going wrong in your life. No, I'm not lying. Have you ever been around someone like that? I'm not saying that your life's meant to be perfect 24/7. Have you ever met someone and all they bring to you is problems? It's like they don't have no solution. It's like, and even when you give them a solution, they go back to the problem.
Yeah, of course.
And then you're like, okay, but if you do this and that, and like, yeah, but I just feel so hurt. And you're like, okay, but if you do this, no, but it doesn't make sense. Why would someone do? Yeah, but this is what you need to do. Yeah, but I just can't believe. And you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
It's like, and then tomorrow they'll be like, yeah, my car broke down. The next day, oh, my leg's hurting me. Oh, the next day I got
Always
a headache. And it's like every time you call them, they're doing that to you. What they're doing is they're pushing whatever that is, that energy onto you.
It's real.
And you need to be careful of
real.
that. It's like if you got children, yeah, and you're always happy and joyful around your children, that will naturally brush off into your children. If you're a kind person and you're always kind to your children, instead of saying to your children, be kind, the best form of being kind to them is showing them to be kind. Does that make sense?
Relax.
Yeah, because children reflect back the attitude of the parents.
But that's just like humans, though.
Yeah.
That's just like friends and the people that you can surround yourself with.
That's what comes back to when I said attention is one of our greatest assets, because we don't realise how much by giving your attention to something, let's say if you're watching a soap drama like EastEnders constantly where people are arguing and fighting, what you don't realise is you're conditioning or programming in effect yourself with that way of behaving, right? Because that's what you're observing on a regular basis. That becomes a part of you. That becomes in effect your reality, right? You would see more evidence of that in your own life. And then so what I call the cycle of doom, like you said, when people are always experiencing problems, right? Whereas what they don't realise is we always act in accordance with our belief, right? And because we act accordance with our belief, the only results we're going to yield to ourselves will be the equivalent results, right? Which we can then use those results to justify why we believe something in the first place. So it reinforces the belief, right? So you see these people on the same downward slope or experience in the same things over and over again. And that comes back down to one of the first things I said is you have to realise that in order to break away from that, everything in effect starts with you and the ideas that you in effect construct in your own mind. Now you can understand this and consciously and deliberately construct a new idea in your own mind, or you can continue to allow the present results to do your thinking for you and thereby receive more of the same and experience more of the same.
Do you know what that reminds me? That reminds me of recreating yourself. One of the things that humans find very difficult is to recreate their reality. So if you let your reality hold you back, then you're a product of your own. Do you ever heard that saying, you're a product of your environment?
Of course.
I don't actually believe that.
No?
I believe you're a product of your thoughts. I don't believe you're a product of your environment, because there was lots of kids that came from my area that wasn't in gangs and hurting people and going in prison, but they was with us, but they weren't with us. Does it make sense? So even though they came from that environment and it was a very harsh environment, they was working, they got jobs really young, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't involved, even though other people was involved. So even though from the outset of it, his environment should have brought him into that, but he didn't let that affect him, but other people did. So are you a product of your environment, or are you a product of your thoughts? Now check this and visualize this process when I say this to you. He himself who believes in his mind that I'm a gangster will eventually become a gangster. He who believes I am an entrepreneur will eventually put himself in the circle of being an entrepreneur. See, the first thing that you have to do is believe in your mind something for it to become a reality. So if I believe that I'm a king, I'm going to carry myself in the way like a king carries himself. But if I think that I'm a peasant and I'm a thingy, I'm going to carry myself like that. That's why a lot of kids are conditioned by their own thoughts, and then their environment literally just helps enhance that. Does that make sense? But your thoughts is a very powerful thing to master, of like who you are and recreating yourself. So all right, you was this person once. Listen, you was this slop that never used to come out and play computer all the time. Now you go gym, tattoos, living your life,
for real,
going out,
it's for real,
sociable. You see what I'm saying? You recreated yourself. But you could have stayed in your paradigm. You could have just been like, you know what, I'm happy with this and I'm a failure and this is the way it's just going to be.
That's scary to think, you know.
But you changed it. So recreating yourself every 5 to 10 years, I think every year really, but I love when people say to me,
it's a continuous thing. You never stop.
You never change.
You should, like I said earlier, you're either moving forwards or moving backwards. So you should always be continuously developing, unfolding looking for new ways. No matter how well you do something, there's always another way. There's always a better way, and a better way still than that.
And that's why it's even beautiful when someone says to you, "You've changed." You know, sometimes we look at it as a negative thing.
We're doing it.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Oh, you've changed, like, and you feel like, oh,
people
like,
say never change. Like,
yeah. Like, nah, man, don't just be this. Like, I liked who you was before, but did I like who I was before?
Exactly.
This is it.
I think that's where, if you never change, if you work so hard to not change, then what was the point of working hard? I didn't work this hard to be the same. I have to change.
And that's the key, right? Because you said, did I like myself? So what you're realizing is that you always take you with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And that's important, because whilst we're sort of conditioned to shirk responsibility and point a finger at maybe the partner for the relationship, or hold the government responsible for our safety and entitlement, and we hold the schooling system responsible for a level of education, what you don't realize is people go through life pointing the finger and blame and not taking 100% responsibility for their results. And not only that, they may move town, may change relationship, may change jobs, and yet still experience that same result over and over again. It may be a different name, different place, but they're experiencing the same thing. Why? It's because you take you with you wherever you go. And until you change, as you rightly pointed out, then you're going to continue to experience those same results.
And that's why I realized in myself that I had to recreate myself.
Exactly.
And then I heard people say like, oh, do you know who he is? He recreated himself. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, are you serious? Like, did you really want me to be the same?
Yeah.
Like, people will hate you for who you was and then hate for who you are. It's like, you can never, and that's why I said, trying to please the people is an unachievable goal that will only bring upon you depression, because you'll never be able to please the whole world. But one person that you should be always trying to please is yourself. And I'm not talking about like some physical pleasure, I'm talking about mental. Does it make sense? Things that stimulate you and what make you happy. If whatever capacity that is, because in the end of the day, when you're in your house and you're depressed, ain't nobody that was telling you how to be or not to be is going to be there with you.
It's just you, man.
Do you see what I'm saying? So that's where it's really important that you focus on self-improvement and becoming the best version of yourself. And if that means I have to go into a corner alone, into a dark space,
It is.
find myself, and then come out of that dark space as a different person, that's on me. And that's why I respect people that change.
Always spend time in solitude. I spend time in solitude. I encourage people all the time, right, to spend time with yourself. Really take the lid off your mind. You know, we're sort of encouraged growing up to be realistic, right? Keep your head out the clouds, put your imagination away, so to speak. It's okay when you're a baby, but as you start to grow up, we're told like focus, pay attention. We've told again more beliefs like you have to know exactly how something's going to be done, or have everything figured out before you really start pursuing many of the things you want, or take action.
But it's funny because like when we were saying like off camera before we started this, like how you actually thrived in lockdown. Now a lot of people might say, well, how can you thrive in lockdown? But I think your mindset and sort of how you go about things. How would you say you was able to sort of come out on the better side?
And it's not just me. It was many people I was surrounded by as well.
Okay, peers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and that really highlighted me.
Yeah.
Highlighted to me. Sorry. In such an extreme scenario, that we really are creators of our own reality, in the sense that anything outside of us really meets you where you are internally. As within, so you out. So without. And the way it really hit home was because, like I said, there were people using that as their excuse. So, of course, people lost jobs, lost businesses. Some people were getting broke. But at the same time, there were other people, myself included, and others around me, that were thriving and making more money than I've ever made before during lockdown. And it's an actual well known that more millionaires are created in a recession than any
every
other
time.
time.
Every time.
If you look at it from a different perspective, such as health, while there are many people getting sick and losing their lives, there were other people during the same period who were getting healthier than they've been in a very long time. Maybe they've been eating more nutritious home-cooked meals or getting more time to exercise. relationship-wise, we could look at it from that perspective and say, well, many people were being forced to spend time with people they didn't like. You see divorce rates going up, what have you. There were other people that were valuing the extra time they were getting to spend with other people, and their relationships were getting stronger. So it's not just, and that got me really thinking, and I got me thinking because when it first happened, I saw a post on social media that said, "Dear 2020, wrong hole." From everyone, right? Yeah. But I was thinking to myself, it's not everyone is experiencing the same thing, and it really comes to meet you where you are internally. And it just really hit home for me in the aspect that, and it always comes back down to the ability of what we choose to focus on, right? In terms of what then materializes in our outer world and what we see more evidence of, right? So you notice people who focus on the negative and what's wrong all the time tends to experience more negative and what's wrong, right? So lockdown for me personally, it was a great time. I spent a lot of time on my own mind and with my personal development. I spent zero time watching the mainstream narrative or the news or reading newspapers.
Smart move, man.
Because I understood that it was filled with a lot of negativity.
BS.
And I saw the effects it had on others who were continuously filling their mind with that sort of everyday information.
Just channeled into just all these stats and numbers and death tolls. It's like your mind's fucked.
Exactly.
Your mind's gone, innit?
You must just be feeling anxiety all day long. The number of deaths. You're just living in fear. And you see in people's actions, they're scared. They didn't want to touch anything, staying completely far away from people. And
it went, innit?
Yeah, they didn't want to touch money or anything. Like it was quite strange, to actually see on such a mass scale of how everyone that sort of consumed the same idea, the same fear-based idea, was acting the same. And here I was that hadn't given any of my attention in actual fact. There was at one point towards the start of lockdown where I went to Westfield supermarket and I was the only person in there without a mask on towards the start of it. And it was just crazy just observing the actions of people and really understanding that the actions are all based on the ideas and images that have consumed them and filled their minds.
Right. No, it's true. Cause, so, like, would you say that even now, because you mentioned, like, solitude a few times, so, like, would you still treat, like, do you still treat your life as lockdown now as in, like you're still, like, to yourself, like, you don't, like, tend to watch TV and sort of marriages and stuff, like, as in, like, you're still focused on yourself and what you do, like, self-improvement now?
Yeah, 100%. So, I set myself clear-cut goals, and they're always big goals. Sure. You know, your dreams should be big. You shouldn't know how to achieve them. If you... Like I said off camera, if you know how to achieve something, you're going sideways, right? So for me, your goals should scare and excite you at the same time. Scare you in the sense that you don't know how you're going to do it, but excite you because you're chasing something that is worthy of you, in effect, to something you truly want, right? So I'm always working towards something, you know, not just working for the sake of it, but I see it as working towards. You know, so when I do get up in the morning, my feet touch the ground, I know exactly what I'm doing, where I'm heading, so to speak. So I do still have that focus. You're right, I don't spend any time watching TV or reading newspapers or just browsing through social media without any purpose. Of course there are small times when I do switch off and maybe watch a film and what have you.
Of course.
But other than that, it is always a case for me of just doing things that are on purpose for me and that excite me as well. I find enjoyable.
You'd have to, innit? Like, so do you think, like, being a motivator, like, what would you say, like, the top thing is as to why some of the people that you sort of deal with aren't successful or aren't achieving their dream? Like, what's the number one thing you hear or see pop up with them?
I think first things first is having that clear-cut vision in mind of what you want and where you're heading. Right, a lot of us are conditioned from young to, like I said, be realistic. So we tend to settle, or we tend to set goals for ourselves that we believe are achievable, or that is within our grasp, so to speak, or someone else has told us is realistic for us. but there's no inspiration in that. The
Right.
first sign of defeat or the first obstacle in the road, as there always will be,
That's it.
you'll just probably
Out the
turn
game.
around,
Yeah.
right? Or we go after what someone else has suggested, maybe, or we see, oh, that person's making money doing that, we'll try that for a
Right,
second.
right.
Or someone else is doing this, oh, we'll try that for a second.
No focus.
And yeah, there's a complete lack of focus. And when things don't work for you, even though they may be working for someone else, purely because you haven't spent the length of time required to sow the seed adequately, let alone for it to bear fruit.
Yeah.
That's why people sort of bounce around from one idea to another,
Yeah.
right? Or one business opportunity to another, right? So first things first is spending that time in solitude, as you said, taking the lid off your mind, allowing yourself to fantasize.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, anyone that has ever achieved anything of consequence throughout history, they didn't know how they were going to accomplish it.
Yeah.
They just knew they would.
Right.
Right?
That's real.
And everything always starts as an idea in the mind, as a
Always.
fantasy. So you have to be okay with that. You have to understand that and be okay with fantasizing, even though many people may have told you, you know, you can't fantasize. You have to know how something is going to be done before you do it. So, you know, spend time with yourself. Really take the lid off your mind. When I speak with someone for the first time as a life coach, and I try and get them to do that as a simple exercise, just take the
Right.
lid off your mind and think without limitation for a minute.
Right.
You always get people that still justify why they are where they are, or justify why they can't
Rather than-
stretch beyond
rather
it.
than, yeah.
Right, rather than just taking the time, taking the lid off your mind. A good question I like to ask is, if money was no object and you knew you couldn't fail, how would you choose to live? Now, how would you spend your days? What sort of business would you have? What sort of people would you be spending your time with? What car would you drive or home would you live in? You have the ability to use your mind and imagination to effectively paint your life exactly the way you want it to be.
course.
This is a truly healthy way of thinking, understanding that I have the ability to use my own mind the way I like, rather than just allowing everything outside of me to use my mind for me.
Yeah.
Right? And
That's true.
hence comes back to remind me to think.
Right. Right. The whole movement. Yeah.
Thinking is the highest function we're capable of. Most people don't choose their own thoughts. It's almost like their thoughts choose them, or
Engineered,
everything
man.
outside themselves is doing their thinking for them.
That's powerful.
Trust
That's
me.
powerful, because you see, even like certain times when my mind's telling me what I want to do, yeah, I've never had a vision in my mind that I haven't thought is unachievable.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I don't let anything stop me from my dreams. Instead of people be moaning, oh, it's gonna be too hard, it's gonna be this, and I'll be like, so how do I do this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just literally on like go, and then I like I said to you, having the right circle around you is more important than is so important in the world. Like, everybody plays a role in a journey that you're making, and it reminds
Yeah,
me of
yeah.
chess. Like, every piece in chess is important. Don't even think that little pawn that just moves one step
Yeah.
ahead.
Ain't important.
Don't think that that pawn ain't good, because that pawn could be in a position where it stops someone killing your king.
Trust me.
So don't ever think. Don't.
Trust me.
Every piece has its part to
Yeah.
play in the role of the building and the structure of your life. What a lot of us do is we don't see that life is literally similar like that. That is how our life is. If you position the right people in your position, imagine all them pieces were gone. It was just you and your missus.
It's true.
You know how hard that game is to
Yep.
play against someone who's got the whole board.
Trust me.
You'll be literally on the defense for the rest of it, and then you'll complain, oh, the reason why I'm not doing good is because I ain't got the right people around me.
Yep.
But you have the power in yourself to surround yourself with the right people.
Yep.
And if you can't surround yourself with the right people, then surround yourself by yourself. How about that?
It's true.
And I feel like for me that was the most healthiest thing I've done. I just had to remove a lot of people from around me and just be by myself for a little while.
Yeah.
And then what happened is, because I was so focused on my goal, everyone that's coming around me, all they can see is my vision.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You can't see anything else. You can't see anything else. You can't see the pain that I went through a year ago.
It's true.
It's irrelevant.
It's true.
Like, how can we strive to get to this goal?
Yeah.
True.
That's all my mind's focused on. And I feel like the people that are around you that will attract you, it's law of attraction.
Yeah.
Eventually, all the people that are going to attract you is the people that are good for your vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if that number is not as much as you want, see, the problem is social media's made numbers become a reality.
Yeah.
When numbers is just numbers. Money,
Yeah, it's nothing.
digital currency doesn't actually exist. It's digital currency.
Yeah.
I could make up numbers on a currency and say I got 10 million in it.
Yeah. That's real.
Is that real money or not? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what really matters is the people that are actually supporting you and helping you towards your vision. And those people, they're a dime a dozen, and you need to keep them around you like gold dust, because those people, they're the ones that are going to help you get to the goal. You see, what we see, is we see Bill Gates,
right,
Jeff Bezos. We see those names. Bro, you see the people that's around them, they're more important than him.
Yeah, of course.
And when you hear them talk, they always say it. It's like we just don't listen. When a celebrity wins awards, Drake or something, he goes up to the stage, he says, I thank my producer, my this, my that. And you're thinking, who's these people?
Exactly.
But he knows how important these people were for him. Without these people, he wouldn't have been nothing. And it's the same with everything. So your circle and what you cultivate around you is very, very important. And what you give of energy and good vibes. I think a lot of people, and that's why I will never do business with someone if the first thing they say to me is how much I get paid. That means that your goal, your mindset is you want money. You want something that's momental. I'm trying to build a journey for us. This is a journey that it will be a roller coaster, bro. We might be up and we might be down.
That's why many people just look for any job, because they're thinking,
this is it.
You know,
yes, I just want the money.
That's
but if that's what you're doing with your dreams, I don't want you around me. Because if money motivates you, that means money can make you betray me.
Yeah, of course.
That's W.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you get a little 10 grand, you're like, I'm gonna leave him now. And that's a little 10 grand.
Because like money run out.
Yeah, and then when it runs out, you're like, yeah, bro, man, I'm sorry, but and now I'm 100 grand. But you see, like, if money's the only motivation, then we're gonna get to the money.
Don't worry about it.
It's gonna come.
It comes as a result of the service you
provide.
Thank you.
But we have to put in work.
Yeah, exactly.
What we do? I generally don't understand how we just meet someone and be like, so how much are you gonna pay me? Like, have you even done one job for me yet? You haven't done anything. You've improved yourself to me. I just want money. I'm about money. And you're like, okay, so what about the journey? Like us going places, us building, getting hotels in different countries, and we're just having fun doing what we love. Isn't that what life's about? Or is it just all about money?
But that comes back, there's a lack of vision, isn't it? A lack of vision in someone's mind in terms of what they want. And I think people downplay just the power of having such a clear-cut goal, and how many things in life can be overcome by simply having that clear-cut vision in terms of what you want and where you're heading. And then, like you said, even from that point, it's a lot easier to surround yourself with the relevant people now that you know exactly what you want and where you're going. Until then, you know, people may be not pulling you in the right direction. They may be pulling you here, there, and everywhere. And like you said, there's always people that we can find that have the same interests as us or the same ambition as us, but it still all comes back down to having that clear vision in mind first of all, right? First things first. You don't have to know exactly how you're going to do it or something is going to be done, but just like any goal or any destination, right? You know that if my goal was to get from one side of the room to the other, all I have to continue to do is move in the direction of that goal, and I'll eventually get there.
Thank you.
Right? And it's not having that clear vision why people could be working hard and taking large strides even, but wander around in circles because they're just wandering around aimlessly. Right? So that's always very important, first things first, having that clear vision in mind and continue to move towards it. Notice another thing is, if we're getting from one end of the street to the other, we get there step by step. Right, and we don't get there in one giant leap. And I think another thing that holds people back is they think that success must come at a click of a finger or overnight, right? And what we don't do in that scenario, walking from one end of the street to the other, is call ourselves an idiot and say we failed with every step we've taken, because we know if I continue to move, we'll get there. So why do we do that in business? Why do we take one step or one action and say to ourselves, oh, this hasn't worked, we must have failed. You see, and then we turn back or we give up, you see. But and this is why it's important to be going after a goal that you're so passionate about, that's worthy of you. Not settling for something small, but going after something big that just sparks and just ignites something within you that, to a point, it takes on a momentum of its own at some point, where you're not having to force yourself to do the work, whereas it just becomes automatic, a part of you, second nature.
Man, I'm enjoying the journey, and I feel like this is what I say to everyone. Like, I love enjoying the journey that I'm on. I'm actually enjoying it. This is a great ride. I don't, like, people don't actually understand how amazing it is for me Like, I'm on my own journey. I've built my own base. I've built my own platform. I built everything myself from scratch. And it feels so good to know that I'm not even at the bit. To me, I'm at the beginning of my journey. As much as even people might look and say, "Oh, look at this, look at that," I'm still at the beginning of my journey.
Of course.
And I know that there's going to be success at the end, because the vision is always bigger than what I've always planned. But I don't say too much. But I know that if your brain is saying to you that you can do something, all you got to do is move your legs towards it. I don't believe sitting there and saying, "Yeah, I've got dreams." There's so many people that sit there with ideas, great ideas, bro, but they never achieve it.
Never.
And then when you ask them why not, they'll say things to you like, "Oh, you know what? It's too hard." Like, bro, we could shoot a movie right now.
Yeah,
I've got the cameras right now. I've got the lighting. I've got the mics, bro. We can shoot a movie right now. Us three in here can shoot a movie right now.
Comes back to the level of belief, right? Your belief is reflected in your actions. So I always have people as a life coach say to me, "Yeah, I've got this idea and I believe it's going to happen, but what action are you taking in the direction of it?" Yeah, none. But and that demonstrates how much they believe something to be a reality.
It's true,
right? Because if you truly believe something was possible or working for you, you'd be doing it.
It's true.
It's the doubt that you have that is preventing you from moving forward.
The doubt, but sometimes even, I think some people suffer from. I mean, I did even for years, like the fear of failure.
Yeah.
And the mindset was very like negative. Like, so as opposed to thinking, what if I succeed? Is what it was like. It was what if I fail?
Yeah, what if I fail? What if other people laugh at me? Or what if I lose my money or my time? Or what have you?
I've never, you know what? I genuinely don't care. I just enjoy what I'm doing. And
So
I love what I'm doing. And I feel like that's what's important. If you love what you're doing, whether you win or fail, you still love what you do. You know, if you're playing
That's
football,
the key,
like if you're playing football every weekend, but you love playing football, but you're not good at football. So your team's always losing, but you love football.
So
you
much.
come every week. Well, you're not winning.
The fact that you said you're enjoying the journey, that to me is success, right?
Exactly.
I don't know if you heard of El Nightingale, but he was one of the first broadcasters in personal development. But he said success, his definition of success was the progressive realization or unfoldment of a worthy goal, right? So it's actually the journey, not in the destination. Because when you achieve a goal, there will always be, or should always be, another bigger and better goal to shoot for.
100%.
So if your success to you is only in achieving the goal, you're only successful, say, 1% of the time. Because like I said, you don't see the destination for 99% of the journey. If you're traveling from here to Birmingham, you don't see your destination for 99% of the journey. But it's the unfoldment, the new ideas, the realizations, the having the fun, the excitement along the way, and learning new things, meeting new people. On the way to a goal worthy of you, and that's why it's so important to be pursuing something that's worthy of you. That is what success is, you see. And by that definition, we can all be successful, and we should all be successful 99% of the time, you see.
That's what the journey for me is like, the most important thing. I know that success is going to come and end, but you know what? I always look at it like this, Sometimes we want everything to fall in our hands too fast, and sometimes you don't even realize how far and powerful you've got anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never been, and I heard Drake say this, and I proper resonated when he said this. He said like, every time, he always is overcritical of himself. So when he does something, you'll be like, "Oh, it's great, it's amazing," but you'll be like, "I could have done better. I could have done this. I could have done it." That's me. So you're never in a place of complacency. Like, you're complacent, like, I've done well, like, I dropped the episode, I've done this, it's good. Like, I've done my goal, like, I've just done an event, it was a success, everyone loved it. You know what, let me chill for another 7 months and I'll do another. No. Like, I'm just like, you know what, I've seen all the flaws, I should have done this, should have done it. I'm very overcritical of myself to the point where I even think sometimes it might even be unhealthy, my criticalness of myself to a certain extent. Because sometimes you still got to big yourself up and say, you know what, you've come far, you've done a lot.
You have to.
But me, bro, I don't have that. I'm just like, you know what, I could have done this better, I should have done this.
Good though.
I should have done this. And next time I'll have lights flying through the sky and balloons and all this like weird merch. I've just got so many ideas inside my head, and I feel like that's a sign of being around. And you're being inside your mind, being the greatest person inside your mind, is that you've never hit a plateau. You're always like, I can improve. You know what I'm saying? I always can improve. And people's criticisms, okay, this is what the person said. Now, sometimes a lot of people take criticism as hate, But I know people that generally love me, their criticisms come from a place of love.
Right.
So even if you criticize something, I know you're not doing it from a malicious place. I know you're doing it from a place of you genuinely want to see me improve. But a lot of people, they don't see that. They're just like, oh, you're hating on me.
Of course,
why you treating me like this?
Yeah, they take
like, like, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? But me, I take criticism like very critical. Like, okay, this is what they thought. So what was the reason why you thought like that? Maybe it was like this. Maybe I do need to change that. And I don't do it in front of you.
No, of course.
I never do it in front of people. I always go with that little solitude time when I'm by myself. When you said solitude, my solitude, I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, cool. So this is what I could have done better. That's what I could have done. Okay, so if I was like, I'm proper critical of my own self.
But there's a balance to that, and there's looking forward and looking backwards with that, right? Because if you're overcritical of something that's happened in the past that you're not going to do again, then you're not really spending the time and effect wisely criticizing yourself like that. If you're criticizing yourself in a way that maybe you're going to do something again and you're looking forward in effect, right, then that is constructive criticism, because you're looking at where you can improve and move forward. Right? So whilst we could learn from the past, our focus always has to be on what we could do better and moving forward.
It should do.
Right? So like I said to you, A, the other day, when we're driving a car, we have a huge windshield in front of us and a very small rear view mirror. Because the majority of our focus should be on looking forward,
not what's behind.
That's exactly it. So once in a while, it's good to check behind and see where you come from. But again, it comes back to focus. What are you focused on? What are you giving your attention to?
And I think it is healthy thinking there's always room for improvement, because there is, because even if someone is successful, even if you want to look at football, a team might win 4-0. But after the game, in a post-match interview, the manager might say, but we gave the ball away a few many times. And it's like, he isn't criticising the performance, but he's seeing that
the improvement.
There is no flawless performance, even in a win. Even in a win, there's stuff I did wrong, I didn't execute. So I think when managers do that, someone might think, but we won 4-0, who cares? But he doesn't see it like that. He's like, right, we kept giving the ball away in the second half, too many quarters, too many fouls. So despite winning, the next time we might not get away with it. The next win might not come because I'm not adjusting and tweaking this area. So I think always seeking or have room for improvement is quite healthy. But not overcritical. Do you know what I mean?
That's that winner mentality of always looking to move forward and improve your current situation, because like we said, you're either moving forward or moving backwards. So the moment you become complacent, we see throughout history many companies, big empires being built and they've faded away and no longer with us today because they got to a point where they became complacent. Right? So you have to continuously be adapting, moving forward with the times. There are always new ways of doing things, new people on the planet, new species, new technologies, not just man-made things, but in nature itself. Right? So the truth is, if you're the same person you are today that you were a year ago, you've in fact moved backwards. Right, because the world is moving at such a rapid rate, so you continuously have to be keeping pace with it and keeping up with it.
You have to, and I think it's interesting when people say, if you've elevated to a higher state and you've been working on yourself, you've been sort of, grinding, sort of being on a purpose and achieving things. If someone goes, you change, it's like, I'm supposed to have changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the growth of any journey is gonna make you change, and if someone's looking at you who's in the same place as they was 10 years ago, but you've elevated, and you changed, it's like, because you didn't grow with me.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still stuck in the same mindset back in 06 or whatever, and now I'm here, but then, so someone can't think on your level now. So discussing new ideas to people who are still stuck on the block selling weed, you're speaking to no one at this point. It's like a pointless conversation. Someone has to be willing to sort of say, how do I do it? How do I get there? How do I achieve my goals? And then it goes back to, so obviously if you're like a life coach and you're doing you're like a motivator, you know what to look for, or maybe signs of where someone is going wrong from someone who's been through it, to give advice, say, maybe if you change that and that, someone who's willing to change it's going to be successful, isn't it? But I think I don't know whether it's fear, pride, ego, but you have to be willing to change something.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course. And funny enough, when I work with someone as well initially, a lot of people want you to coach them their way, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I'm always adamant, no.
It's my
I'm coaching you my way,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because it's you doing things your way to this point, which has got you to where you are today, right? So you have to be very strict with people. Sometimes, not so much now because I'm very clear from the offset, but there were times where, let's say, we would spend time clarifying someone's vision or what they want, and we would clearly lay out on a call, let's say 10 things that they need to do or accomplish before our next conversation in a week or 2 weeks time. Then a week or 2 weeks time when I catch up with that person, I ask them, well, how many things they've accomplished on the list. And what's funny, they could be actually very enthused, like when they're telling me, oh, actually, I haven't done anything on the list, but what I have done is this thing, this thing, this thing, and this thing.
It's like, what?
Like, yeah. And they could be like quite upbeat about, oh yeah, I've done all these things, but none of which was on the original hit list, which we identified would move them in the direction of their goal. Right. So why would someone? Is that question in any aspect of life? Why would anyone seek professional advice in any area and then not follow it?
It's true, 'cause like,
think about that.
It just goes
why
against...
would you go to somebody who's not a heart surgeon about your heart?
Exactly.
Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. But we're just sort of told, conditioned to ask our next door neighbour for advice, or what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? The person, like we said, most people don't think. The person beside us probably doesn't think.
Yep.
Right? What do you think I should do? The person doesn't think. But they'll be quick to give you their opinion. Right?
You're not lying.
And
You're
so
not lying, kid.
we have to respect ourselves enough to, first of all, like I said, have that clear vision in mind of what we want and where we're heading. But then seek counsel from those people that have been where we are and have achieved the type of results that we aspire to, right? And not just give our attention to anyone and ask for advice from anyone who isn't achieving those results, right? And I think that's what I learned in the very early stages of, stop following the advice or asking people advice who are not achieving anywhere near the type of results that you aspire to.
That's what when I'm doing, like, I do research on everything. Like, even though I've got everything already in the studio, I still think of improving everything.
Yeah.
Why not?
Every single day, I do research on how to become better.
Yeah.
What do I need to be better? What things sound better? What things... And it sounds crazy, innit? Like, every single day.
No, bro.
I'm talking about, like, you see, just before I go to bed.
But it's second nature. It's not a chore. So when you're saying this, it's not a chore.
No. I just do it.
Exactly.
It's like part of the obsession.
Yeah.
Like, to be the best.
That's
Again,
why I
like,
said it's better than obsession.
It's part of the obsession of I want to be the best.
Yeah.
So I'm always, every day, all right, if I get this, it will look like this. Well, I need some flowers. Maybe I need a plant. Like, every day, even if it's one little thing, because I read a book called Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
And if I read a book, let me just tell you how I read books. I'll read 10 pages of a book and not read the book again for 4 months. The reason being is because I want to focus on them 10 pages, memorize it, and implement it.
Okay.
I feel like it's you read a whole book and you haven't implemented one page.
Yeah, no.
What was the point of reading a book?
Yeah.
How does the book benefit you?
A lot of people do that, and it's because, again, we're conditioned from school to sort of read a book and put it down and not really take it in, right? But those type of books, and this is one thing I do in my coaching program, I give people material, whether it be books, audios, what have you. But even more so important than the material in the books or the videos or whatever it may be is the instructions on how to use it. And we want to use things in a way, especially if it's progressive material, we want to use it in a way to ineffectively recondition or reprogram our own subconscious mind to the point that many of these ideas become habit to us, and that has the book Atomic Habits. A habit is something you do automatically without conscious attention. So this comes back to the point I was saying, it's not a chore for you to do that, it's just automatic. And that's where I think we can all become successful, in the sense that if we understand that we are creatures of habit and we can effectively reprogram our mind to do things automatically in the direction of our goals, then that's where things begin to take on a momentum or a power of its own, you see, where you're not having to struggle yourself or put in the initial work. You see, at first it takes discipline. It's like an aeroplane. If you think of a plane, to get off the ground, it needs to go full throttle, right? It needs to put all the effort and everything. Once it's up in the air, you can engage the autopilot,
of course, and just
and you're in cruise control. You see what I mean? So in the initial stages, once we've identified, like you said, that we are responsible for changing our paradigms. We may have not been responsible for creating it initially, but we are responsible for changing it. Then you understand that by putting in the required work and disciplining myself initially, it eventually will get to a point where it is plain sailing, where it is automatic, where I do just tend to do things automatically and meet with successes and things just unfold before me. And that's when life becomes really fun and enjoyable.
It's true.
You see, and we start to be mesmerized at the... And it's funny, some of the opportunities that just seem to unfold and develop before you. Just because you merely spent that time initially to have that clear vision in mind of what you wanted, where you're heading, and to discipline yourself and pursue it with persistence and courage to the point that it has taken on that momentum. Momentum is very important.
100%. And I feel like you only can get that if you, like you said, have a clear goal of what you want to achieve, and eventually your motivation, your passion, eventually, if it is, like I said, infectious.
Yeah,
remember
exactly.
I said to you, like, the unlucky person all the time, they're affecting you, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Imagine the flip side to it. So if that can affect you, then what about somebody who's always speaking life into your goals?
Exactly.
Right.
Then what will that do to you then?
Always surround yourself.
If I'm always saying to you, you can do this,
Yeah.
but then not only just saying you can do it, I'm actually providing an avenue for you to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not just saying that we can be actors. Bro, let's start taking acting classes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, would you want to do it once a week? Oh, it's a little bit long. Nah, bro, man, come. It's going to be good. We both start going. Nobody knows that me and McCall's going to do acting classes. Before you know it, you see us acting on camera and you're like, wow, these
Yeah,
guys are
exactly.
Grammy. But these times we're thinking like, well, we put in some work, innit?
Yeah,
that was like
exactly.
one course once a week for like 6 months, 8 months. But nobody saw that work. But then they saw the end of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I said, now everybody's saying, I want to be actors because it was infecting them.
Yeah.
So I
Exactly.
believe that if you can infect people with badness, you can also infect them with goodness.
100%.
And I feel like if you cultivate your circle and the people around you upon positivity, and not just positivity, but just on your passion and your goals,
Yeah, exactly.
people naturally will gravitate
Yeah,
towards you.
just progressive people that are ambitious, constantly looking forward and solution orientated,
Yeah.
like you pointed out earlier. Because birds of a feather flock together,
together.
right? So, and there have been many studies done, monetary wise, that show that your average income tends to be the average of your, say, 5 or 6 closest friends, right? So, it's understanding that you have the ability to choose your environment.
Of course.
Right? You choose your surroundings. You choose the people around you.
Of course.
Right, so that's very important as well. Who you're surrounded by.
Yeah, like who do you associate yourself with? Because someone who's trying to be business orientated, I don't think they would hang around in the old area with 5 guys who are on benefits. It's like, how are you going to achieve anything? Surrounding yourself with people like that, and I think, like I said, I'm sure through what you do, like you said, a lot of things must be automatic at this point because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah,
you don't get up and think, how do I motivate today? You're just doing it.
It's just comes
It's
natural.
second nature now.
But like I said earlier, the best way to be of influence is to live it in your own personal practice, right? And it's because I live it and breathe it that it has come natural to me.
It's second nature, and you feel like, I mean, obviously, so now it's like, it's not, I wouldn't say a job, it's like a way of life for you now. So like when you are motivating these people, like I would assume like it gives you like a sense of fulfillment to help other people.
100%. I mean, when you truly understand cause and effect, or sowing and reaping, some refer to it as karma, some refer to it as attraction, or however you want to refer to it, you understand that like energy returns to a source of origination, right?
Yeah.
Given, it will come back to you.
That's real.
So my focus is always on what I can give. How can I increase my service and effect?
Facts.
How can I, like we said, if you're analysing yourself, how can I be better? How can I do better?
I have to.
Right. So that's always the focus on moving forward. The rest tends to fill in around that and match me, as I said earlier, where I am internally, because as within, so without. Right. And talking about emotions, shifting it to emotions slightly, because our emotions indicate to us exactly where we are regarding each specific subject. So I think one of the problem is we tend to mask things with words. Words tend to do a poor job. A poor job, right? Yeah. If you've sort of seen someone come in the house and slam the door and you say, you know, how you doing? They're like, I'm fine. Well, the words differ from the emotion or the vibration.
Of course.
Right? So
yes.
We have to, I mean, to give you another example, if I was to take a word like love or marriage, which is supposed to be an expression of love in some cases, which is supposed to be one of the most highest feel-good vibrations. But then if I was to take the same two words, love and marriage, to someone who's in a world romance, travel the world with a new partner, they're planning a wedding, they've just got engaged, then those two words like love and romance can be very fulfilling, high-flying feeling. But to use the same two words, for example, to someone else who's maybe been divorced several times or been in an abusive relationship, those words are going to be very bitter. So again, we also have to pay more attention to the vibration, the frequency, or our emotions, so to speak, and in a way let emotions be our guide, rather than just going by things on a surface level.
How we're feeling. I mean, yeah, because I think, and anybody, because I would say anybody who asks for your services or is interested in like sort of what you do, for me, they're already on the right path to like achieve something.
Oh yeah.
Like so, because I think someone reaching out saying, I need help or I want to improve. This guy seems to have an answer. You're already acknowledging or identifying something's wrong. Yeah. And now I'm looking to fix it. So for me, that's already a form of success in terms of the mind.
Of course.
It must be, right?
In terms of
to improve.
Yeah, looking in the direction of what you want to accomplish. Yeah. But then from that point is, like I was saying off camera, there are many situations where we want or desire something, and then it comes to us in maybe a way we didn't expect it to come to us. And because of that, we tend to push it away. Yeah. You see, or we tend to question, or we tend to think, oh, it's come in a way that is more expensive than I was
hoping,
prepared to pay for, or it comes in a way that's in a different country or through a different person, or what have you. And we use these reasons. So not only do we know hopefully get to a place where we know what we want, but we tend to, from that point, narrow the avenue from which it will come to us, because we think and feel it needs to come to us in this certain or specific way. We also feel if I give my best to you, well, like we said, giving it will come back by law, right? You reap what you sow.
Trust me.
Energy returns to its likes of origination. But it doesn't state that if I give my best to you, I must get that same best back from you.
No guarantee in that.
Exactly. But it does state that I will get it back. So again, we have to sort of be willing to let go and allow some aspects of this as well. Once we have that clear idea in mind and we tend to pursue things, we need to be able to let go and allow and understand the process behind it, because if I was to plant a seed in the ground today for an apple tree, I wouldn't then go to sleep and wake up in excitement tomorrow and look outside and expect to see a full-blown tree. I understand there's a process. And if I don't see anything appear from the ground, as it probably wouldn't after one day, I don't go and then dig up the seed just to check it's still there. Right?
Because because life is life in general like is a process, and things take time, but you can be sure that as long as you keep watering it,
exactly,
it's going to blossom into the beautiful.
If we keep nurturing the seed, if we don't allow anything to knock the idea out of our mind, or like I said, surround yourself with people that's telling you all the reasons why it can't be done. As long as we have the ability to hold on to an idea in our mind and pursue it with courage and persistence, then by law we'll eventually get there. It must materialize. It has to materialize.
Because I think because you're always saying you just like the idea of a pessimist, isn't it? You hate pessimists. It's like, the whole...
stay away from me.
Exactly. And emotions, and our emotions tell us exactly where we are with regards to that, in terms of if we're on the right path or not. Right? If we're feeling bad and we're not feeling good, then we're focused on the wrong thing. Right? If it's if it's energizing us, making us feel good, driving us, moving forward, then we're on the right path.
But I definitely, again, I go back to, it's the key factor to that in itself is having the right people around you.
Yeah.
Imagine you have someone around you. Every time you have an idea, you go to them, you say, I think I should do this. They're like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. That's incredible.
That's powerful.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
All right, flip side.
Yeah.
Every time you go to someone with an idea, they knock you.
And now it's dead. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I never forget. I never forgot the
Don't
impact
spend
that
your time with
it
those,
happened on me when I was doing podcasting. And like, I went to someone in my family and I was like, "Yeah, man, let me rent you. Let me get your space to do it." What, you think I got time for that? What's podcasting? It ain't gonna do nothing for you. It's not even bringing money for you. And I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah.
That moment.
At that moment, yeah, he made me actually question what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
Powerful, man.
He made me actually question what I was doing, and I don't even know. At that moment, I was like, man, maybe he's right. And then I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna film. Then the person around me was like, nah, man, let's go film next. When we can film me next? And I was like, oh. And he didn't know that I was going through this, but I was like, yeah, next week, man. Then I went to it and I was enjoying it, and I was like, why am I stopping something that I enjoy? I don't care what he's got to say.
Yeah.
Leave him with his own thoughts. A year into this now, you know, the person said to me, oh my God, some girl that I'm seeing, man, she watches your podcast, she's on your lives. I'm just looking at the person thinking.
That's real.
So you waited for someone else, and that's why I said to people, stop worrying about who's supporting you, who's not supporting you.
course.
Just keep
Do what you do.
going
Yes.
on your mission and purpose. Don't worry about anything. It's like sometimes you got to go tunnel vision, and it's like nobody exists.
Yeah, of course.
And everyone's thinking, oh, this guy's crazy. You know, everyone that's great in history, they said they were crazy.
Okay, exactly,
There
yeah, I
was
know
one time
that.
when they said they were crazy.
But I like the saying, what you think of me is none of my business.
Yeah.
Trust
Right?
me. It's really
Because
not.
yeah, exactly.
not.
If Wayne Dyer said, if everything and everyone else is the source of you basically not getting to where you want to be, you're gonna have to send everyone else to the psychiatrist before you can get better, right? So is being able to block out the thoughts and opinions and ideas and being so clear in your own mind, in effect, making what you hold in your mind more real to you than the physical world. You have to be that crazy. That's where craziness comes into where, right?
That's something people
where,
yeah,
to
yeah.
me, the images and ideas I hold in my mind are more real to me than what I'm experiencing in my outer world, because I understand that outer world must conform at some point to the idea and images I'm holding on to.
Yeah.
Now, the question always comes back down to, did you consciously and deliberately choose the ideas you're holding in mind, or have you just allowed your current situation or circumstance to be filling your consciousness?
That's real, man.
That's powerful, because even, like I said again, I couldn't let them words in my mind. I couldn't let them this shape onto me, man. And like I said, a year in, the person's now like, oh yeah, watch your podcast and everything. I'm looking around. I said, dude, you're the one telling me this is rubbish. But it's like, that's why I think people call other people crazy, because it's crazy that you actually believe this hard
Yeah,
in
of course.
yourself.
It is, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
You ain't gonna make this. How's it gonna make you money, man? How's this gonna do? And you're on your mind
Negative,
thinking,
man.
just chill. I'm gonna find a way. Because you're so focused on that it's not gonna work. I'm
Yeah.
so focused on it's going to work.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna make any way possible to make it work.
Yep.
Like, maybe whether you agree with me or not, I'm gonna do any way. I feel like if you want anything in this world, you can achieve it if you really want it.
Yeah.
It's how much you want it.
Yeah.
It
And you
makes sense.
continue to move in the direction of
everybody says,
pursue it.
"Oh, I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to do this." I wanna do that. What are you doing towards that? Nothing. So
Exactly.
you're just words.
Yep. Just talking.
But if you are consciously every day going in that direction, it's only a matter of time before an opportunity pops up.
Yeah, you'll
I don't
get
believe
there.
in luck. You know, I believe in
No,
that
there
when
is no such thing as chance of luck.
I believe the opportunity arrives and you're prepared and ready for it.
Yeah,
Does that
exactly.
make sense?
Yeah, of
You've got
course.
all the tools for when that opportunity arises. You're not like in the back, like just with the idea, and the opportunity comes.
Exactly.
'Cause I do believe opportunities.
Preparedness meets opportunity, they
Yes.
say, yeah.
Yes. So
That's
I
what
feel
luck
like
is.
if you prepare yourself mentally, like, yeah, you know what? When this happens, by the time that comes, you're already confident in what you're doing. So
you've already done it. You've already rehearsed it. You've already lived it in your own mind. And it's what you live in your own mind is more real to you, then you've already done it
me.
on a deeper level than just reenacting it in effect now on the physical plane.
That's it. And that's why I said, if anything I want to be, if I said I want to be this, and I'm around a group of people and they're like, well, I don't think that's going to be, that person has to be removed from that circle. I'm just being real. I just can't have you around me, because you've got to have that same belief that I have, that same craziness that I have, so that we can both be crazy rich one day.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I'm rich and you're like, I'm like, why I see here's 100,000, you're like, what? You're crazy. Why are you giving me 100,000? Bro, you know you've been there from the start, bro. You believed in this cycle.
That really comes back to the understanding of if your goal is big enough, you won't know how. You would never know how to achieve it until you start moving towards it and things start unfolding. So that's why I said earlier, you have to sort of make peace with that and be able to fantasize and build things in your old mind, and then believe in yourself to the point that you're taking action and pursuing it. Right, and I'll give you an example of belief actually, because recently, I think it was last week, mentoring an individual who has a goal to obtain a house, right? And I was simply asking, okay, so what have you done to simply move in the direction of your goal? That's all that needs to be done. And he was basically saying she hasn't done anything because she hasn't got the money. Right, I think a lot of people could relate to that, not having the money to do what they want to do. Of course. Now, I then went and broke down. I asked her basically, okay, let's say you did have the money ready to go, you was ready to move, what would you then do? And we came up with the list together of her contacting the real estate agent, going to explore the different areas, maybe looking at different schools, maybe looking at different furniture and what have you. We came up with a list of in excess of 15 things, ironically, none of which took any money. It doesn't take money to contact the real estate agent. It doesn't take money to go and view the property or to research the area or to research the schools. But here she was letting the one idea of not having enough money hold her back or restrict her to even pursuing her goals, when there were many steps she could take. She could in fact journey towards the whole thing without any money.
Do you know, I was reading a book here of a very, very successful man. I can't remember his name, Matt something.
Maxwell Maltz.
I think so.
Psycho-cybernetics.
Yeah. He said he started with no money. I had no money. I borrowed money from everyone.
It's just an idea that
he went to everyone. He went to about 10 people, 10 investors with his idea.
Yeah.
They all rejected him and one guy accepted him.
Yeah.
He took the money that the guy gave him, flopped, went bankrupt. Guess what? He went back to them people that he owed debt to and said, look, I owe you all debt. Look, I've got you all in the room. I owe you. Look, if you give me this much money, I can give you back the money that I owe you. And plus more, with interest. It's all right, cool, no, guess what happened again? Bankrupt again.
Yeah.
He said the third time lucky. And you know what? It's so crazy because going bankrupt is like, I have no money in my business. I've lost all these people's money that I invested. Like, how do I come back to them? He done the same thing again. And guess what? This time, he won. And he gave them back triple of what they gave back to him.
In a big way.
And they wanted to invest more money. He said, no, I'm just keeping the business to myself.
Yeah.
They wanted to buy stakes in the business. He sold some of them stakes, some of them not. But the key, what I've learned from that was that he didn't let failure determine his outcome of life.
Of course, exactly.
And I don't even look at it as failure if you're trying.
I see it's feedback.
The only time I really look at it is you're a failure is when you give up.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you just say, I'm not even doing this anymore.
So the process to arrive anything or achieve any goal, right, is always the same process as movement, feedback, adjustment, movement. Right? We move in the direction of it. We obtain feedback. Now, many people interpret that F as failure. You see. But it's only feedback if we can make the relevant adjustments and continue to proceed in the direction of our goal. So it's the same process for everything: movement, feedback, adjustment, movement. And it's become second nature to us when it comes to things like I mentioned, a short walk down our street. We don't realise how we're taking on the feedback automatically and making the correct adjustments and weaving in and out of people. Or we're simply, we can feed ourselves without even much attention on our food. Our mind could be elsewhere. But you know, as a baby, if you were left a baby with food all over them, they had food all over themselves because they're still working out. You know, they may overshoot. They may see the food there, but they may overshoot with their hand and have to readjust. But it becomes second nature to us. But it's always the same process: movement, feedback, adjustment, movement. But it's when we interpret that as failure and we use that as an excuse to give up, if you will. That is the only point of failure, when you quit, right? When you're no longer proceeding in the direction of what you do.
I generally don't think you can ever fail if you've tried something and didn't work. Just try something else. And I feel like that mindset is the winner mindset.
Yeah, of course.
Because how can you win without some adversity? Doesn't it? It feels good when you have adversity. You know when you everything's like not working in your favor, and you're like, you know, let me readjust, and you readjust, and it works. You're like, woo!
Exactly. There
the win feels just a little bit more sweeter.
Yeah, it does.
Imagine everything was just going the right way all the time.
Or just fall into your lap.
I just feel like there's no real success without hardship.
Can't be.
So coming back to what I said, you know, we get there step by step along our journey. We don't get there leap by leap. And as much as we think we just want successes to come overnight, we don't. Like you said, it is nice to have things unfold and the new realizations. Because if you think to yourself, okay, if I was to give you every meal that you're going to enjoy for the rest of your life all today, would you enjoy that? Well, no, it may be nice today, but then what when it goes off? If you used to have every single, let's say, car you're going to drive for the rest of your life, all today, all right now, would you enjoy that? And the truth is, there's a lot of discomfort in that you wouldn't have the places to store them. At some point, you'll get bored. So we actually like things incrementally. We like things to come bit by bit and piece by piece and things to unfold, as much as we think that we need everything all right here and right now.
We don't, man. Yeah.
And I think that's all comes down to our mindset, belief, and striving for the best for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I don't think, if you truly love yourself to a certain extent, I don't think you'd ever give up on your own goals, you know, because your self-love will be like, you know what, I don't care if no one believes in me, I believe in me. You know what I'm saying?
Big
But
words, man.
at the same time,
You'll force or cause others to believe in you through your own belief in
but
yourself.
you're putting in the work though, because I feel like sometimes a lot of people don't realize this yet. Working hard is good, but working smart is even better.
Yeah, exactly.
So some people, they make things look effortlessly.
Yep.
I might even be one of them people, but I don't realize it. But behind the scenes, I'm doing a lot. It's just that I don't say it, but I do a lot. But I make it look easy, but it's
not
far
easy.
from easy.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the part of social media that I don't like. I hate the fact that we see the person in a Lamborghini. Like there's a guy called what's his name? Tom Hartley. He's an old white guy. Yeah. Shout out to Tom Hartley. I want to get with you because this guy's just got like he's been in the car sales game for like 60, 70 years, yeah.
Okay.
So he's got big boy whips around him.
Yeah.
But if you saw him, you'd be like, "Bro, who's this rich guy with all these cars?" But he's put in work to where he's been.
He must have.
Yeah, he's put in work. Yeah, don't play with him. He's done all of the necessary things that you need to do to be the best at what he does.
Yeah.
And you only can respect someone that puts in work to get where they where they are.
Yeah.
See,
You have to.
I'm just seeing him now because he's on socials. But before socials, he was probably here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes we'll see someone's success at that moment, but we won't see everything that they went through to get to that success.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's why me, on a personal level, I'd always say that never stop working, keep trying to strive, and don't worry about if it's not working at that moment. Eventually something will pop off for you if you are determined, you are dedicated, and you do have discipline. Everything eventually will fall into place.
Yeah.
And what you have is something that people want and valuable to people, because you could be striving for something that has no value in the eyes of people. You have to prove to people that it has a value. That's why businesses, the businesses that work the best are the ones that have value intrinsically. It's like for Amazon. Amazon can survive the COVID. It actually improved.
Yeah, exactly.
But outside of COVID, it still works.
That's an example of something could thrive while others are deteriorating.
Yeah. So Amazon was working before COVID, but it worked even better through COVID.
Exactly.
I think they destroyed the market in COVID.
Ridiculous.
Everyone was on Amazon. Tell me one time.
Netflix and all that, you know.
Do you see what I'm saying? So there's some things that they win outside and win inside. So you've got to think, what am I giving people that, if lockdown was to happen again, this is how I'm looking at everything. If lockdown was to happen again, can I still film my podcast and still put it out there, and will people still watch it? 100%.
Yes, exactly.
So that's value, though, isn't it? Do you see what I'm saying? Think about if everything, recession, everything is against you. What do you have in value? Like food. A food business is never really going to go bad. But then why do people fail in food business? Sometimes they got bad service. Sometimes their food's not on point. So those little things is what you need to focus on that. Every field has its market research, and I believe if you do your market research properly on everything that you're doing, you will eventually make it if what your product that you're giving to people
there's always a way. There's always a way, right? So one thing I want to say in terms of mental health and just realizing everything you're looking to accomplish is one of the most empowering things that a person can come to realize is that anything you want or will ever want for the rest of your life, you only want it because you think you will feel better in the having of it, or in the accomplishment,
of course,
right, or in the realization of it. So what you have to realize is what you're truly striving for is a feeling, an emotion. You see, and it's a shame that people go their entire lives hustling and fighting for things outside of themselves to give them that feeling of fulfillment and still never achieving it.
Facts.
Not realizing that because it's purely an emotion I'm seeking, I can spend the next 5-10 minutes again in solitude if needs be to do whatever needs be to generate the emotion or feeling I want within myself. And in that moment be fulfilled, not need anything or everything outside of me to fall into place before I can feel the way I want to feel. Right? So that's something truly empowering, because when you truly understand that at a deep level, you always remain in control. Right? You remain in control of your environment. And then that's where you start to see your environment conform to your inner state and the way you feel. But your emotions are always that indicator of the track you're on, as I said earlier.
Plug everyone in with your socials, man. Tell everyone where they can find you, man.
Oh yeah, so Instagram, remind me to think with is that there's an underscore under each word. And same name on TikTok as well. Those are the two platforms I'm on.
Remind me to think. Yeah?
Remind me to think. Yeah.
And you do life coaching. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, they go through them.
Yeah. If anyone wants to get in touch with me, normally they hit me up on say Instagram.
Okay.
Directly. I'm quite booked up now, but yeah, hit me up regardless anyway. Remind me to think on Instagram, and yeah, I'm always providing people with different tools and ideas and ways of doing things, just to help them reprogram their own mind for them to see many of the results they want.
That's big, man. Man. Change their lives, man.
Well, that's it. That's it.
That's the goal, change their lives, man.
That's it, man.
Trust me.
But shout out to Rare Talks, really know it is another episode. Bow.
Wrapped up. Come on, man.
Thank you.